Hello, everybody. This is Rupam, your host, and today I have invited not just Mr. D. I have with me a lot of friends of mine, and who will be joining me on the show from Bangalore, Kolkata, and few other places in India. So let me try and connect all of them. Let me first start with Mr. D. Uh,
Very good afternoon, Rupam. Pleasure to be back on the TechR Show. I really look forward to this part of my day. It's really exciting. I'd love to share. And today we've got something really special lined up. It's basically to talk about 16 personality types, right? And the application of this is endless. You want to negotiate with your parents, you want to negotiate for a new job, you want to negotiate for making friends with someone, you want to negotiate to buy something, you want to negotiate any kind of relationship. The key is understanding people, and that's what we're going to cover today over the next 25 minutes. It's called 16 personality types, right? So to get started, right, firstly, I want to thank all the viewers for taking out time to join us, and we'll get started right away. So 16 personality types. What exactly is your personality? How well do you know that? Now, these 16 personality types are distinguished by a behavioral personality, a characteristic, a skill, right? And to understand roughly, you have, as you can see on the graph at the back of my TV, I hope that's visible. You've got informal, you've got promotional, you've got dominant, you've got controlling, formal, analyzing, easygoing, and supportive, right? These are the main personality silos. But the four main quadrants are informal, dominant, easygoing, and formal, right? Now, to not complicate matters, let's start with four basic personalities, right? And it's something like your astrological sun sign, because you could be a main personality in one of them, and then slightly skewed towards another personality type, right? So you could basically have a mix of personality styles, not too many of them, one major and maybe one or two minor styles, right? So before we get started further and deep dive into this, remember, today we're only going to talk about four personality styles, right? And to get started, let's look at the first personality type, right? One thing that I forgot to mention that's very important, the left brain is always logical, the right brain is emotional. So, what we're going to do is talk about the personality type, how to identify the personality, and then go into how to handle that personality and address that personality in a more persuasive manner. All right? Right. So don't forget, left brain is logical, right brain is creative. So, who is personality type number one? They make decisions on intuition. They like to please themselves. They're very flashy, very expressive, emotional, super excited, fun loving, talkative, achievement oriented. They decide on feelings. They're risk takers. They're creative. They're futuristic. That is the first personality, basically. Hey guys, as I go along, if you have any questions, you can always jump in. Right? Did you catch that so far? Any of you want to? If you have any questions, just jump in. Right? Sushmita, Kevin, Madhavan, all the guests on the show, Anubhav. Should I carry on? You good to go? Okay, right. Now, personality number one, right? Like I said, who is this personality? What is this personality, right? This personality is known as a promotional personality. A promotional personality is, like the name suggests, very flashy, talkative, arrives and makes decisions really fast, right? Now, a promotional personality, when you're addressing them, remember I spoke about your position, where you're going to stand to talk to them. Remember what I said, that, the left brain is logical and the right brain is creative, right? So, to talk to a promotional personality, you want to stand to their left side and appeal to their right hand side of the brain. Right hand side of the brain is predominantly the emotional side. So you are connecting with a promotional personality, appealing to their right hand side of the brain. Okay. Now, don't get confused when you say left or right. Just the secret is you remember that, let's say Sushmita was a promotional personality, right? I want to appeal to her right hand side of the brain. So I'm going to move slightly towards the left side, opposite her, and talk from the left side, the opposite side, appealing to her right hand side of the brain. Okay? That's promotional. To give you a kind of idea, because this may sound new to you, right? I've come out with a couple of videos that I want to show you, short videos, short clippings, and then it would kind of indicate what kind of personality it is. Now, I decided to pick the Shark Tank. How many of you guys watch the Shark Tank? Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows. Yeah. So the best part is you go into the Shark Tank with an elevator pitch and you want to try and close them. But so what we're doing here, I picked up videos of certain characters and I want you to recognize that personality type. So over to a Shark Tank video, what could be partly considered as a promotional personality. Here's a clipping for you to look at.
Self-educate, then they'll start looking where to find a solution. I'm going to make you an offer, and there's going to be a contingency. Okay? You get $350,000. I want 12%. 2% of that could be an advisory. But the contingency is that we do a low-cost version, and that for every subscription that we sell, we do one free to a low-income parent. Right. That's so why in summary, it's 350 for 12%. 350, of which 2% could be advisory shares. So you knew you were going to have to negotiate some anyways, right? And you knew you were going to have to pay that back to me. But wait, guys. So let's discuss, right? Because if you don't think this is your offer, then just tell me.
We'd love to have you as a partner, but I think for us, I think equity deal just makes more sense. Would you be looking at that equity deal, or is that off the table for you?
Okay. Well, if you guys don't want me in,
so. Mark, also, I think, getting back to your offer, is there anything you can do for 9.5% for $350,000? Basically, meet halfway in between the 7% and 12%.
I'm still listening. Listen, keep talking to me and Mark will keep going down. Keep
no,
talking to me. You're going to get a better deal from Mark.
9.5 is just ridiculous. 10%.
Let's do a deal.
I don't think the marketing.
Right. So in that Shark Tank episode, what you really saw there was Mark Cuban, right? I would say that in that video, he came across more promotional in nature, right? He is a controlling personality as well, but not so much supportive. If you watch Shark Tank, Mark Cuban is the kind of guy, he knows what he wants. When he sees it, he goes for it, he jumps right in, right? So if you recollect, when I was talking about promotional personalities, I was saying that there are people that will make a decision on the spot if they like it, if they want to go with it, right? So that was a promotional personality. Any questions over to the audience so far?
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
I just want to know if most of the venture capitalists or the people who we have to pitch to, the higher the position they go, they become more promotional in nature. Is that, can I do that?
Sushmita, that's a good question. Essentially, a promotional personality is a personality who's very flashy, expressive, makes a decision quickly on the spot. But if you see, you cannot have a personality that is 100% promotional. It's probably like a mix. Like if you look at Mark Cuban in this case or in this situation, he rarely jumps into something and agrees to do a deal, right? If you watch Shark Tank, because he will analyze it. A part of him is analytical, right? A part of him is logical, right? But then he's a guy that goes for it if he decides on doing something. So to answer your question, are all venture capitalists like that? That cannot really be applied to all venture capitalists, because you might have a venture capitalist like Kevin, which you see later in the video, who is extremely analytical. He's only driven on math and logic. Do you understand? So there's no, the difficulty here is that, you've got people who, no two people have the same personalities. Everyone is different. Everyone has a different mix. It could be situational, right? If you're in a stressed out situation, your personality reaction is going to be one that is analytical and, logical rather than emotional. You understand? But then if you take Barbara as a personality, you'll see some more videos and then you'll get a better understanding. But that's a great question, and I hope that answered it for you. Okay. Right. Should I go on to the next one? Unless anyone else has a question. Okay, I'll go with the next one. Right. So, personality type 2 is someone who is relationship oriented, cares for others, emotionally driven, likes to build a one-on-one relationship, shares their thoughts and feelings openly. Openly. All right. That is personality type number 2. Right. Now, personality type number 2, which is known as a supportive personality, please be mindful of the fact that they will not take a decision immediately, right? And um, to appeal to them, we need to again stand on the left side and appeal to the right hand side, which is the emotional brain, right? But you need to keep giving them personal assurances. You need to build a rapport with their friends and family, right? That is the supportive personality. Like I said, the position of talking is from the left side to the right side, appealing to the emotional side of the brain, right? I'm going to play a video of now a supportive personality for you to get, a slight understanding. Yeah.
Oh, not a damn thing. But I've fallen in love with you, which is not a good reason to make this decision at all. Except, ironically, my best decisions on this show have been from my heart. And those, ironically, are the ones I've made the most money from. You're standing here and you remind me of Grace and Lace. What is rockin' amazing about Grace and Lace and why they deserve the enormous success they have, $86,000 to $46 million in sales. A remarkable story is because they built, I believe, 12 orphanages and 2 schools in India. They take their money and they share. They're just good people from the top of their head to their heel. You're the walking, talking example of the American dream. Period. And
Right. So that was a supportive personality, right? And as you can see in this small clip that you saw, Barbara said she shared her feelings openly, um, that she really liked them. They reminded that couple who were looking for investment, reminded her of someone else that she's worked with, and she had a success story. So she said that she wanted to get into the transaction, the investment, because she likes them. She's expressing, although she does acknowledge and say that I should not base my business decisions on emotions, but then the fact is she's being open and candid about her emotions and the way that we feel, right? So, a supportive personality is one that expresses their emotions openly. They tell you the innermost thoughts, how they're feeling, right? Now, for our viewers, where am I going with this 16 personalities? Let's stop for a moment and understand that you've got a job tomorrow. You're reporting to your boss. What kind of personality is your boss? That personality could have one or two variants of that. How do you handle that situation? You're a leader, you're a manager, you've got five people that report into you. What kind of personalities are they? How do you handle them? Neurolinguistic programming is mirroring. How do you mirror yourself and handle those people better? How do you handle those relationships better? You're going for an interview, right? For a job, that very important job that you're looking for. The HR has got you under a microscope, with due respects to the HRs out there. They're trying to analyze you, right? What if you could analyze their personality and say, oh, this HR is supportive, this HR is analytical, this HR is logical, this HR is controlling, this HR is promotional, and then figure out how best to give your responses, right? Now, the $1 million question is that how do we do that real time? you know so there are tips and tricks that we can share, and tips on how we can actually ask a question and find out possibly the nature of that person's personality. So 16 personalities is a great module to help you handle relationships better and leverage those relationships to your advantage. All right. Right. So before I jump into number three, the rest of the participants, do you have any question? Please pop in, and no worries at all. I'm happy to answer them. Um, Rupam, should I go on? And the rest of you guys?
Yes, I think we can go ahead.
Okay.
And if anyone has a question or wants to, jump in, just raise your hand because I have put everyone on mute. So please raise your hand and I will, unmute you.
Okay. If there's no question, I'm going on, right? So, who is personality type number three? Personality type number three is known as a controlling personality, right? They know what they like, they're determined to get it, um, they're instinctively driven, they're interested in time frames, um, they control uh, their own feelings, they're direct, to the point, they're businesslike, aggressive, they don't want to talk too much. They kind of work on my way or highway kind of a style. With them, you don't waste time, you get straight to the point, right? And the trick to handling this personality style is to make them feel like they're in control. And another interesting fact, this is the only personality, right, as you can see on the screen, where you need to stand in the middle, right, and appeal and talk to both sides of the brain, logical and emotional, right? You don't pitch over emotionally and logical. You kind of pitch in between, right? Kind of shades of gray, no black or white, no extremes, right? So very interesting. A controlling personality is someone that wants it done their way. They're not really flexible. Very aggressive, business-like, to the point, right? Those are the key indicators. And I'm going to show you now another video from Shark Tank, where I can, you know, show you possibly what a controlling personality looks like. All right, guys. There's a little bit of feedback. Can you mute the volume at your end? One of the speakers, there's a lot of feedback coming in. Right, we'll get started.
I think we're getting some feedback from somewhere. I don't know.
I was saying that the volume on one of the people who are on the show, yes, it's better. It's muted now. My apologies for that. I'm starting it again.
Well, there's a lot of brands that you have invested in that are refrigerated.
They still scare me.
And they've really taken off even more.
I've spent a lot of work to push those brands to get to scale. So now I was involved in Vita Coco. Coconut water can get scalable. Vita Coco is doing hundreds of millions of dollars in sales at the moment. The reason that we did so well was shelf scale. My gut operationally is telling me this is going to be a much longer slog than you think, and so unfortunately, I'm out. Boom. I think the product is good.
So, personality type number 3, right? Controlling personality. I don't know if you could pick up. That was Rohan, one of the greatest brand gurus in the world, on Shark Tank as an investor, right? Now, Rohan is the kind of guy that, you know, it has whatever you're selling him or pitching him has to fall in within what he thinks, what he wants, the way that he wants it. And if you have anything that deviates from it, no way that he'll go ahead with the deal, right? You can see here that this guy had a good product. He was talking about the benefits and saying other people have done this and stuff like that. Rohan was very clear, right? If you have this, talk to me. If you don't have it, don't. It's a controlling personality is one that doesn't offer a lot of leg room for flexibility. He says, take it or leave it. This is what, I want. And if you can do that, great, let's go ahead. That is a controlling personality. That is probably a personality you're going to encounter many a time, right? In terms of a controlling personality. Over to you guys for any questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. Rupam will bring you in and unmute your audio. Yeah, Kevin. Hey.
Hi, sir.
Yeah.
Is there any way that we can make that personality listen to our point of view?
Yes, that's a very good question, Kevin. Great question. Let me paraphrase that question and repeat it so that the others understand. You come across a controlling personality. The controlling personality wants to listen to things the way that they are, right? Wants to listen
Sure.
only what they want on their agenda. And you're saying, how do you really control a controlling personality, right? So, couple of things. One, like I said, you stand. How do you handle a controlling personality? Yeah, let's just look at that, right? Position of talking is standing in the middle, right? Get straight to the point. Talk less. Don't waste time, right? Take permission if you want to discuss anything that deviates from what they want, right? And most importantly, try and give them what they want, right? So if in this case, Rohan, we're saying that I don't believe that there's a market for your product, you got to start by saying, I might agree with you that there potentially is not a market, for this product, but one of the reasons that I feel that this could still be a disruptive opportunity is this and this reason and this reason. But pretty much a controlling personality, I would say, if you're trying to convince them, it has to kind of fit in within their parameters or expectations. If it doesn't, there's nothing much anyone can do with a controlling personality. Um, if you see on Shark Tank, which I watch regularly, just to bring it up as an example, Rohan rarely goes in for a deal because he wants everything perfect the way that he wants it. He's not flexible. So that's just his nature. And there's not much that we can do, Kevin, with a controlling personality other than try and fall within those parameters to the best that we can manage. Okay? Right? Right. So, anyone else for a question before I go to the last personality type? So, the fourth personality type is basically, you know, a logical personality, um, what we call the logical personality. Now, they want facts and figures. They're probably going to ask for a written proposal, right? They will ask a lot of questions. They want facts, proven figures, you know. They could be reasonably quiet, right? Emotional, slightly, a balanced kind of mix, but what they're interested is give me facts, give me credentials, give me credibility, give me figures, right? And that is your personality type number four, which we call logical. Now, can anyone take a guess? Where do we stand and how do we appeal to them? Sushmita, do you want to go and hazard a guess?
I think you appeal to appeal to the logical side, you need to stand towards the right. Is that right?
Perfect. Perfect. That's great. So what you're saying is stand to their right and address and talk to the left hand side. Is that correct? And left hand side stands for what? For logic, right? And if it's logic on the left hand side, then because this is a logical personality, there's no point getting melodramatic and emotional about it. You appeal to the left hand side. So that is a correct logic that you've applied, and when you're talking, that's a position to really go into, right? Okay, fantastic. um, Now, before we get into the further steps on how to sell to these personalities, maybe for once I can show you again a video, the last of the four videos, which would perhaps demonstrate a logical personality. So here goes, guys.
Yeah, that's going to be our break even point. How do I give this evaluation at 3.5 million? Because you're saying 250 to 7% imputes a $3.5 million valuation. We are projecting to do 6 million next year. So I'm going to make an assumption you have a little flexibility on valuation, right? There is some flexibility. I thought so. Yeah, because I would love to partner up. There should be a lot of flexibility.
Right. So what you did see there was Kevin, who is always a numbers guy. In the Shark Tank, he's going to figure out, what is your valuation? How did you arrive at that valuation? What is the return on investment? What is the investment? All numbers. He's a math guy. He's going to, crunch out all the numbers, right? Now, that is a personality that's very logical, right? Right? So that is the logical personality, which, in a nutshell, was easy. Right. So I have a question for the audience because I've been sharing something till now, and whether you've got Suma. Oh, Kevin, you have a question? Oh, Anubhav has a question. Anyone? Anubhav, yeah.
To ask you that, what if a panel of members, which consists of multiple personalities, they are sitting in front of me, and how do we address them or sell the entire lot an idea?
Oh, wow. That's got to be the question of the year. Awesome. Let's give a big round of applause to Anubhav for a great question, right? So let's just assume right now that three of you are different personalities, right? And let's assume Rupam is also the fourth personality here, right? And just for hypothetical reasons, I'm assuming Rupam to be supportive. I'm assuming Sushmita to be promotional, Kevin to be analytical, the different personalities, the four different personalities, and you to be logical, right? So I'm coming here to, I don't know, pitch you, a product or service, whatever it is, right? So I'm going to answer that question really carefully and with some additional stuff, right? So the first thing is I've got to be professional, direct to the point, right? Brief and concise, right? And that works really well with logical type of people or logical personalities, right? If you're controlling, I've got to be less filmy, less dramatic, less overacting, less over exuberant, to the point, cut to the chase. What's in it for you? If you are promotional, I'm going to be excited, a lot of energy, like, yeah, yeah, this is great stuff, and stuff like that, right? So the answer, Anubhav, to your question is everyone, right, will have logic as part of their quadrant, because we do not make if someone says go buy a phone, you don't just go into the shop, say where's the phone, give me the phone, and you walk out with the first phone in your hand. There's logic behind it, right? In relationships, someone wants to talk to you, say why is this person talking to me? There's logic behind it, right? So in most cases, I would say that if I had to pick, the most common personalities would be logical, would be controlling, right? Supportive, yeah, there are a few good people like Rupam and me that are supportive type of people, right? And promotional is really rare. So what you want to do is go in there and kind of apply a judicious mix of these, and watching the body language and the reaction of people. Let's assume I don't know you guys at all. I'm pitching you something, right? So I come in with a lot of energy and talk, and I'm excited, and but then I see one of you mirroring me and responding, but the remaining three, like, it's not blowing their mind. They're kind of, a bit, hey, where did this guy come from, kind of thing. So then what happens is you then kind of in your mind say, oh, these three, they're not promotional, right? For a promotional personality, you can look at them and identify them. You don't even need to speak to them. They're very flashy. They'll have a lot of gadgets, a lot of brands, and they're very brand conscious, and probably drive up in a loud red car or something. What I'm trying to say, a promotional personality. We don't have to sweat it out for a promotional personality, but everyone would appreciate a sense of logic, correct? So focus your pitch 30% on logic, right? Now let's come to supportive, right? Uh, I would try to make a little bit of rapport building, conversation. So, how are you finding the current situation today? Is everything safe? And what's your opinion on it? I might do an icebreaker before we speak. And that would tell me whether Sushmita is a supportive personality or not. I would ask Kevin, so how's it back in your hometown? Are things okay given this current pandemic and stuff, like anything? Where are you from originally? And, how do you like Bangalore? Just to make conversation. And if they talk and, they're more supportive, then I would know, oh, Kevin's a supportive personality, right? But the controlling guy would get irritated or irked with these and say, hey, you know what? Let's get down to the point. Why are you here? I want to share a funny testimonial. I once met the chairman of Carbon Mobiles, which is a 3,000 crore company. And the story goes that this guy used to be a cable TV operator setting up dishes on top of the roof. You know, when you had those satellite dishes, the big round ones, right? Back in the 90s. And this guy started on, as a cable operator and then built a mobile empire worth 3,000 crores. So when I met him first time and I said, it's such an honor, such a privilege to meet a person like you from such humble beginnings, and look where you are today. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that fantastic? And I was giving him, a full speech. And this guy just chopped me right there and said, get to the point. Why are you here? And, what is it that you want? I'm giving you 2 minutes. So that is a controlling personality. That's right there telling you that, cut that stuff, get on track. Why are you here? What you're doing, right? So, Anubhav, to answer your question, this is a skill. Rupam asked me, why did I pick 16 personalities? Because I've been training it for 20 years and I'm still trying to figure out how to really harness it. It's beautiful, it's powerful, because every person, why don't you guys go home and, go talk to your dad, go talk to your mom, go talk to your fiance, try to figure out the personality. And the personality changes according to different circumstances. So you would learn the art of looking at a person and identifying them, of talking to a person and identifying them, of asking questions and identifying them, of hearing what them saying and trying to figure out which quadrant do they fall into. So if you come across a panel of, I once went into an interview where I had 20 people interview me in a conference room, and that was quite unsettling. But you've got to try to focus. Now, my question back to you guys, I want this to be a two-way participation. Who would you focus on uh, in a room of four people interviewing you? If one was controlling and one was promotional and one was logical, you know, and one was supportive, who would you guys focus on? One by one, answer that, please. Yes, Kevin.
I would focus on the person who has the personality of controlling.
Controlling. Okay, great. Thanks, Sushmita.
I would say controlling again because he's gonna go out first if I don't focus on him. The others are gonna be patient. That the most impatient will be the person I'll be talking to.
Right. Okay. Anubhav.
Promotional personality type because what I feel is that he's more open to a discussion and his guards are down, unlike the rest of them.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. You want to know my answer and take on this, right? I said there are four people in the room, right? So what you want to do is start with the promotional, right? Because that's right, Anubhav. Start with the promotional because he's a high energy person. He'll make a decision quick. He'll be the first and the fastest to decide. So before things get unsettled, jump in, dive in, pitch the promotional, get him on your side, right? Use that energy and then channelize to the supportive, right? Because the supportive, as long as you give them personal reassurances, you know, they will tend to be neutral and supportive. So that's two in the bag: promotional first, then supportive, right? And then you're probably gonna lose, right? Right, Mr. Controlling, right? But I know it's tempting to think that why don't I start with him? Don't do that, right? Now I jumped. So what did I start with? First with promotional, then with supportive, right? And then go into logical. Go into logical. Pitch the logical person with pure logic, right? So worst case situation, I have three in the bag, right? And then I can try and tone down my presentation, tone down my pitch, and try to be purely, you know, less emotional, right? Gear up and ramp up the logical part to the controlling personality and make them what they want to hear. chances are you're not going to get the controlling, but I would have got 3 in the bag, and that's how you do it. Okay. Now, is that answer correct? It's situational. It's hypothetical. You might have a different situation. It might be different circumstances. But you got to go in with your strategy. Remember, in an interview, the game is to try and get as many people on your side in the shortest possible of time. You know, don't just attack the most difficult one, because by attacking a controlling personality, the other 3 are not going to understand what you're saying. You don't want to lose 3 people but gain a controlling personality, unless that controlling personality was the CEO. Then it's a different ballgame. You see what I mean? All right, Rupam, how are we doing for time? Should we be wrapping up?
Uh, I think we have 5-10 minutes left.
Oh,
So yeah, we
okay.
can. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm going to just wrap up the session really quick by talking about how to sell to a personality that is promotional. Let me try and bring that. Is that focused or not? Or
No, it's not focused.
oh, well, I apologize.
It's getting out of focus.
Yeah. Should we just focus on me, and I'll tell you what we can do
Yeah,
then?
that's better. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think.
Just 1 second as I get this organized. Thank you. Right, here we go. So to influence a promotional personality, right? Remember, guys, the promotional personality is the one who is loud, flashy, drives a red car, decides in a flash. Um, you got to stress how the product or service would enhance their their personality. um, you should not be cold, you should be emotional, right? Excited, talkative. um, you know Talk about their dreams, talk about how the product or service would make an amazing difference to their personality, right? That's how you really sell or influence a promotional personality. They are buying based on intuition, right? They're buying because it makes their life easier. So that's how you work with a promotional personality. A supportive personality will buy based on feelings, right? I want to tell you a funny story. I worked for a company called Société d'Exploitation Hôtelière, which is Sodexo, which was Fortune 461. And I had a record in sales. I think in the 90s, I did around 25 lakhs. It was one of the highest sales that I had done at that given time. But I remember the client that actually bought the product or service from us. He said, "I'm not buying because I like the product, or so. I'm buying because I like you. I believe in you, and I trust you." And so that was a supportive personality that eventually bought the product or service, right? So supportive people buy from you because they want to know how it benefits people. They want to know how and why. They want to make sure there's no threat to their families. Supportive personalities normally, uh, if they come to a mall to buy a product or service from you, they'll come with a friend. They'll, ask an opinion before buying. Um, you need to give them personal guarantees and minimize risks, and that then a supportive personality will buy from you, right? Uh, the next one is a controlling personality. Mamma mia, controlling personalities are really tough to handle. Tell you a little secret: most bosses are controlling. The majority of their quadrant is controlling, right? So handling them, yep, can be quite challenging. Um, they basically like you to be focused, to the point. Don't talk a lot. Answer the question the way they asked. If they wanted to know what is the status of A, tell them the status of A, not A to Z, right? Give them facts and figures, right? Time management, be professional, be efficient, right? Organize things well. Provide them facts and figures, right? They buy things, you know, because they want to be in control of the whole situation. So if they say, tell me about this, and you start talking about something else, they're not going to buy from you. You've got to give them exactly what they've asked for. That is a controlling personality. You try to imagine that you don't have a lot of flexibility. You know, you're just locked in with not much room there. So, any questions as we go along? Sushmita, you had a question? Sushmita has a question. Yeah, go ahead. Rupam?
How important is it for us?
Yeah, go ahead.
No. How important is it for us to know our personality so we can align and, like you said, portray ourselves to be appealing to the other person?
That's again a great question. Sushmita, you know what I would say is that figure out your personality first. Okay, let me go first. I'll be brave enough, right? What personality am I? I would say that I would be 60% promotional, right? Maybe, I don't know, 20% supportive, right? And then logical. Maybe the rest would be logical. I don't think I'm a control personality. Maybe a small percentage, a very small, teeny weeny bit, uh, you know, controlling. But that is controlling if there's a situation that causes me to be controlling. I'm stressed. There's an escalation. There's a problem. You know, then I would be. All of us tend to be controlling at that time, right? So my major quadrant would be promotional. My second major quadrant would be supportive and a little bit of logical, right? So when I know myself, it's good to know myself. But if I'm, say, pitching Anubhav, right? Anubhav might be not a controlling personality at all, but more supportive and more logical. His quadrants could be, say, 70% supportive, 20% logical, and maybe 10% promotional, for example. He's an inverse mirror of what I am, right? So my personality is my personality. But when I go out there, the key is that I need to adapt to his personality, to his style, and give him and address what? Should I address the quadrant that is weak or the quadrant that is his maximum quadrant? So if I know he's 70% supportive, hey, guess what? I've got to tune in completely, right? Now, to answer your question, if I'm in a partnership, a business partnership, and then I need to know, okay, Anubhav's this type of personality, I'm this type of, so we could maybe even have an understanding of, okay, you look after finance, I look after operations, or whatever it is, based on our personality mappings, right? But knowing yourself is good, but it's not directly correlated to convincing another personality. It's a separate ball game. You could be anything, but when you're dealing with another personality, you got to gear up towards it. Yeah. So I want to maybe add another quick point as a follow up to your question is what kind of questions, my next question to you guys is, what kind of questions would I ask people to find out their personality types? Did you guys understand that? So which means that you've come into a room and you're going to interact with me. I could be the principal interviewing you in a job. I could be the CEO of a company and you want to sell your product or services to, right? I could be a partner that you want to bring on board to your company and collaborate. Anything, right? When you come in, you know the four personality types by now. What kind of questions would you ask to quickly figure out, in 60 seconds, okay, Dhruv is this type of guy, this type of personality predominantly. Good question, right? So come on, guys, give it a shot. Yeah, Anubhav.
Maybe ask them, about their organization and a few personal questions about how was their day, and like this maybe.
You're saying like start off with asking them about the organization, a few personal
Yes.
questions. Yeah, that's correct. That's one way of doing it. Sushmita, over to you.
I would
Yeah,
say what they last bite for themselves, and how they bought it. Like, how was their last buying experience?
last buying experience. Okay, Kevin, you want to try? Kevin, you need to be unmuted. Yeah. Rupam, can you bring up Kevin? Thank you. No, you're still
Hello.
not audible. Yeah, now you are. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. I would probably ask some personal questions to check whether he's getting excited to find whether he's promotional personality or not. If he's controlling, he would ask me to go to the point directly. So in one question, I can identify whether he's either promotional or controlling personality.
Okay. Okay. Well, to answer you guys, that's a very tough thing to do. It just doesn't, come off the bat. But um, whenever you go for an interview or you go for a meeting or you go for a collaboration, whatever it is, I make it a point to go 30 minutes before. I map out the environment, I map out the company, I map out the educational institution, and I probably try when I walk in, I try to map out the person's personality, their clothes, the way they've dressed, the objects they have, the whole ambience, the whole atmosphere, to give me clues and signals, right? And sometimes we don't have to do this by talking. You can't just ask a person, "What was your last, purchase?" or some personal questions without really knowing them. I mean, that's rather challenging to do. That could be a possibility. I'm not saying no, but what you might want to do is, do you see big photographs there of the family? You know, some of us, in our workplaces, we put up these big photos and a lot of idols of worship, or some of us, we like to decorate our desk with the latest gadgets and gizmos and the latest tech, and you got your chargers and you got your iPad pencil and a lot of gadgets right there. Or what do you have there that's giving you a visual clue on the personality style? Is a guy dressed like Bapilleri, a lot of gold and a lot of stylish stuff? What is that person dressed like? What is that person looking like? To give you some verbal clue, right? And then usually try to do an icebreaker. What is an icebreaker? It's a conversational topic where you try to build a rapport before you get into the actual reason you're there to sell, right? A good example, I went to Sri Lanka to meet a principal, and I had a sales meeting with that principal. So when I sat with her at a table, I noticed this dashing, handsome young lad, a photo of his with his mother, I presume, who was the principal. So she was on the phone and she said 2 minutes, and I said, take your time, not a problem. And I was mapping, like a radar going all over. And then I saw that photo, and when she disconnected, she said, I'm so sorry. I said, not a problem at all. And then I wished her, identified myself, and then said, before we get started, I was really, while you were on the phone, I was looking at that photo. Is that you? Who's this handsome lad? And then her eyes lit up and she just beamed with joy and pride, either of her grandmother or mother. I didn't make a faux pas by saying, are you the mother? And she says, no, I'm the grandmother, or vice versa. And she said, that's my son. I said, oh, really? Fantastic. And what does he do? And she said, he's a tea connoisseur. I said, oh, really? A tea connoisseur? That's fantastic. And I said, do you know why Sri Lankan tea is much better than Indian tea? And she said, no, why? She looked at me, taken aback that I knew about tea. I said, because in Sri Lanka, they pluck 2 leaves, but in India, they pluck 3 leaves, right? So you get a stronger bouquet and flavor in the Sri Lankan tea. And I said, as a tea connoisseur, he's got to keep his taste buds totally sharp. He'd be worth millions. And wow, what a profession. And isn't that fantastic? We spoke for 20 minutes about her son. Hello, supportive personality right there. Was she controlling? No, because she would have chopped me and said, come to the point, right? And then guess what I did? 5 minutes later, right? I just told her I want to come and do a demo and blah, blah, blah. This is what I want to do, yada, yada, yada. And she said, done, deal. This is the date in my calendar. See you next week. That is what I'm trying to convey to you, right? You've got to try. Now, had I tried this and she said, oh, that's my son. Yeah. Right. So I don't have much time. There's 10 minutes. Why are you here? Hello, Mr. Controlling Personality, right? Get to the point, right? Or if she says, she's slightly supportive. She says, we have an internal training department. You've come here for training, right? But I'm not sure whether, sometimes we do the training ourselves, if it's too expensive. So now there's supportive and there's logical that's coming. She wants to talk numbers, right? Otherwise she can, and she's being supportive because she's being honest. She's telling me that we have internal training available there, right? So what I'm trying to say, this skill is not something that you pick up overnight. You just read the module, you understand it. You've got to go there, have the courage to talk, explore, a controlling personality. You could say that you take a file, right? And you say, before we speak, I bought a proposal for you in black and white, right? It's got all the facts and figures in writing, right? I don't want to waste your time. I know your time is precious, right? So I'm here to share this in black and white. And I've got to rush for a meeting as well. I'll probably take 10 minutes of your time. Once you've had a chance to go through the proposal, I'll come back to you. They say, yeah, sounds good. All right, yeah, sure. Because they are controlling. They want it that way. They want it presented. A logical guy, you might turn around and say, hey, guess what, right? What if I told you that I can save you 20% of your annual fuel bill per year, right? Every year, year after year, and I ask you to invest 0% as a down payment, 0 capital costs, right? Right? Would this be of interest to you? This is what my company can do for you, and value add. So let's talk numbers. And the guy jumps at numbers. Yeah. So how does that work? How did you arrive at that? I show him an Excel sheet and he jumps at it. He leans forward. He's like, yeah. So that's your logical personality. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say here, guys? Yeah. So I think I might be stretching on time. I just wanted to introduce you to the world of 16 personalities, right? Before I end, I want another 2 minutes for the rest of the audience out there. Let's just flip the game totally and assume that you're going in for an interview, right? And in the interview, you have a controlling personality. A controlling personality will ask you questions that they want answered and nothing additional to what they're asking. A supportive personality will ask you if you want a glass of water, ask you how did you come here, did you have difficulty finding the office, will smile at you, make you feel comfortable, will share something personal or maybe not really called for, but will be open and communicative, right? A logical personality will start by, okay, how many years experience do you have? How many years of relevant experience do you have? And then why did you leave this company to join this company so fast? And, how do I know you won't do that again? That's your logical kind of a personality, right? So in everything in life, start practicing these 16 personalities, reading people. It could be your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your family, your friends, your parents. Start look at Shark Tank and read a personality. Put on Suits and read a personality. But can you learn to understand these four personalities better so that it helps you go a long way in communicating, convincing, and reading people better? With that, I'd like to close the session. Over to you guys for questions. Thank you. Anubhav, you're there? Yeah, all you guys okay? Sushmita, Kevin, um, Rupam, over to you.
Yes. Yeah. It was a-
Rupam, can I have you back in the pilot seat, please? There we go.
Okay, so yeah, I think everyone's questions have been answered. Kevin, Sushmita, Anubhav, any questions? Okay, okay, Dhruv, wonderful. It was such an insightful session, and thank you for your time. And I'd like to ask my audience if you have any questions, please share with us on Facebook, on comment us, and you can visit our website, drop a message there as well if you want to. Yeah, I think thank you for watching the show. Thank you again. Uh,
All right. Thank you guys for your time. Stay safe, stay at home, and hope to see you on the TechR Show again. We have more sessions coming up next week. Happy to connect. And if you have any questions, please do get in touch. Thank you for your time. Stay safe. Have a great day.
See you.
Bye for now.